Profitable jobs. Do you have them? Do you know if you have them? Hello and welcome to Setting Up Client Jobs in Xero Practice Manager webinar. My name is Sanaz and I'm an implementation consultant here at Xero. I will demonstrating our best practice setup for jobs in XPM so that you have better visibility over job profitability for your practice. I'm also joined by experts from our consulting team, Scott and Jason. So they will be answering questions that you ask via the Zoom Q&A box. Also, very important, stay on this webinar to the end because we will have a competition at the end, so you don't want to miss that. So just note that the recording of today's webinar will be emailed to you by Xero support within the next 48 hours. Also, so in terms of the agenda for today, we will cover the benefits from best practice setup for jobs in XPM, how to set yourself up for success in year 2 and beyond, and categorizing clients and structuring jobs for a first-time setup. So I will launch a poll to get a better understanding of you and how confident you are with job setup in XPM. Awesome. So let me just launch that. Just give you a few seconds to answer. How would you rate your confidence with job in XPM? Not confident, somewhat confident, confident, or very confident? Just a few more seconds. Thanks for participating. Awesome. The results are coming in. So thank you so much for participating. I can see it's very good to see some of you are very confident in job setup in XPM. That's awesome. And I can see some of you are not confident or somewhat confident. And that's the purpose of today's webinar. So hopefully by the end of today's session, by our demo and some tools, you will be able to be more confident with your job setup in XPM. Awesome. So let's get started by taking a look at why job setup in XPM matters. So who here has ever felt you have so much on your plate? You are overwhelmed with jobs and don't really know where to start. So it can seem overwhelming, and many of us will have a default response that will help us to get started, but it may not be the best choice in terms of priorities. A great example of this is that it's like defaulting to pick up the job for the client who is screaming the loudest about needing their work done. Sounds familiar? I was guilty of this back in practice. Did it make me feel like I was doing a great job? Of course not. And always felt like I was rewarding the wrong clients. And the patient clients who I wanted to work with and attract more of weren't getting the client experience that I wanted to deliver. So what I've done here is set the scene with an example from my own experience, and I'm sure there are some of you who might resonate with this. So without clarity over the jobs to be done, who is doing them, and when they need to be done, your client experience will be suboptimal. So practices invest in attracting good quality clients, and to see a return on that investment, having an effective job management system is critical to your client retention strategy. Practices who use a clear best practice setup in XPM will benefit from efficiencies, as the staff know what work needs to be done for clients and when it needs to be done by. Having job setup in advance in XPM also means that as the staff start work, they can record time against the correct job without delay or any additional admin work to reallocate time before a job can be built. And because your jobs are clearly defined and time correctly allocated, when you run reports in XPM to analyze your performance, you will be able to see very clearly which clients and jobs are profitable and those that are not. So, helping you to identify the types of quality clients that you want to retain and attract more of, and highlighting issues around pricing or staff development to be addressed. Awesome. So let's now look at the types of service agreements, as I will be referring to these during the webinar, as they do have a slightly different setup in XPM. So first, the first type is the annual service agreements. These are ideal for clients who pay a fixed recurring fee for bundled services. For example, a comprehensive service that includes the tax compliance work, as well as activity statements, management reports, and tax planning. Second type. So this type is a fee for service for any recurring work. So for clients on this type of arrangement, you might be preparing regular BAS and management reports and then billing these by time or as a fixed fee for that type of service. So often when we finish the work. And finally, the third type that we will be working with is a fee for service for once a year type jobs, such as tax compliance. So these are the clients you see once per year for tax preparation work, but don't usually engage with for any other work during the year. Awesome. Just give you a few seconds to absorb, and then I will move on. So I will launch another poll to hear from you. Which of these type of engagement do you prefer? So, is it the annual service agreements, fee for service recurring, fee for service, or not sure, or probably you don't have any preference? That's fine. Results are coming through. Thank you so much for participating. And sorry, if you do have any questions, please pop that in the Q&A box, and our expert team would answer that for you. Awesome. Thank you so much. Let me end the poll. So many of you having annual service agreement, which is for the fixed fee for clients. Some of you have fee for service recurring, like for BAS clients. Some of you have fee for service for like tax compliance work. And around 20% of you are not sure and have no preference, and that's fine. Thank you so much. It's good to know. Awesome. So what we are going to do now is to take a look at the setup required in year 2 and beyond. And the reason for that is, as we just saw, some of our audience today are already confident and have set up jobs in XPM previously and simply need a refresher on what to do in preparation for the new financial year. For everyone else on the call, I'd like you to see how simple this becomes once the initial setup is done. So in other words, to see how the investment of your time for the initial setup will benefit you in future years. Awesome. So let's go to our XPM demo. So I'm in my demo practice file, Agent 22, weird name. So the client I'll be using for my demo is the Hawkinson Family Trust, who are on annual service agreement. So this type of engagement is created as one job in XPM that includes all the tasks that we do for the client during the year. Having just one job makes it very, very clear if the work I do for this client is profitable, and I will just show you. So this profitability is what we want to review each year, and then making any adjustments required for the second year. Awesome. So let me go to the business tab and then work in progress dashboard. Let's click on the list view. And this is the client I would like to show you now, and that is for the 22-23 financial year. So towards the end of our annual service agreement, we can expect to see 12 interim payments. So these relates to the monthly invoices and show as negative entries against the WIP created from staff timesheet entries. To analyze our performance on this job, I would expect to see that the total billing or expected total billing, if the job isn't yet completed, which is the case on our screen, to exceed the time value, including estimated time left to complete the work. But if my time value exceeds the total billing, then definitely I have a profitability issue. So for this client, we set up all of the job tasks and templates last year, and we have been using these throughout the year as we prepare the client work. So it's now nearing the end of financial year, and we want to ensure that all of the jobs for the new financial year are in the system ready for use. Some practices will opt to create these jobs throughout the year rather than creating them all at the beginning. So whilst the timing may be different, the process is the same. Basically, there are two ways that we can go about creating these jobs for the 24 engagement, which is next year, which is next month. So let's take a look at the first option. So if you don't use quotes and simply want to copy the job, you can just open the job in our example, which is a 22-23 annual service agreement. And also you can see all the tasks that I have been included as part of this engagement. The different BASes, some ad hoc support, financials and tax return for the 2 individuals, and the tax planning advice as well. Then all you need to do from the options on the left, you just copy this job. Then you would update the references to 24 and then allocate each task. And I will just show you how to do that in just a moment. So this is the first option, to copy the last year's job. Now, our second option is to copy the quote from last year. So for this client, I know that I have issued a quote to them last year. So what I can do is I can go to this Hutchinson Family Trust, the client record, or I can just use the global search for searching that client, and then going to the quotes tab. And I can clearly see the quote that I issued for the 22-23 financial year. So let's click on that. And I can just take a moment to see what services at what price I have offered to them last year. I can just quickly review, and also with the total number of hours. And then all I need to do from the options, I can just copy this quote and just update the years to 24. And just updating the years. And what I'm saying is I'm going to bill them from July 23, which is next month, through to June 24. So they are kind of preparing for the tax return that I will be deal with. So let's click next. So from here, what I can do, if the pricing mode is set as fixed fee, I would be able to basically override any calculated fee here. So for this client, I have decided to increase my fee because I just want to make sure my job is profitable for the next financial year. So what I can do is basically I can just edit the amount here. But before doing that, I also need to make sure to click on each task and basically ensure that the year is correct, because this is what my client is going to see. So just changing the years here. And also, if I get back, you can see this is updated. And also, if I want to increase, so perhaps I just want to increase that to 2,800. So basically, what you need to do, you just need to edit all the years with the 24. So for the interest of time, I just skip that, but you know what to do. So basically, all I need to do is just reviewing how much I'm invoicing, how much I'm quoting for this engagement. And also, I can clearly see the number of hours involved for each task. So let's say if I'm happy with this quote, let's issue that and print that. So then it asks you to select a template. So select a template that you want the quote to be presented on. For example, I have a docx template that I'll select for an annual service agreement here. We have also shared this template as a resource for you to customize and use. And I just ask one of the panelists, please, to share that link with you in the chat box. So just access that, and then you can just customize that quote template and then upload that to XPM. Awesome. So continuing with the demo, let's say you have set up your quote template. All you need to do is click on print and see how it looks like. I can see my logo here. I can see the client information, the year that we are engaged to provide services to them. Under the fee proposal, my client would be able to clearly see the services that I'm going to provide to them as part of this engagement. And also how much I'm charging them at the end. I'm also clearly saying that to them that it's going to be paid in 12 equal monthly installments from July to June for the next financial year. And you can see I have included my terms and conditions. And then going to the declaration part. So this is where your client would be able to review and basically sign this quote. So if you have an e-signature solution, such as Xero's document packs, you can export this to PDF and follow your digital signature process. So for more information on document packs, please speak to your account manager. Now let's say that I have sent this quote and my client has accepted it. So basically, I need to go to business quotes. And I can see the quote that I've issued before. So clicking on that. And then I can mark it as accepted on behalf of my client. And the awesome thing is, once the quote is accepted, it automatically becomes a job for you. So now I'm actually on the job screen. So that is for this client for the 24. I just review the information. The state is planned because I haven't started working on the job. Now with the job category is super important. So ensure the job category aligns to the type of work. So this will make it easier to run analysis reports by job type and will also allow me to keep an eye on my WIP across all of my annual service agreements. So I just select this category here. Then I need to schedule this job. So basically, it's going to start from next month until next year. And because I'm planning to do the tax returns for the 24, so perhaps I put the due date of the job as 30th of September next year. Another important section I want to refer to is the job partner and the job manager. In our best practice recommendation, we recommend the job partner to be the reviewer of this job, not necessarily the partner of the practice. Sorry, the job partner to be the reviewer of the job. So it can be a senior tax accountant, it can be the manager. And then the job manager is the actual preparer or doer of this job. So perhaps your accountant or bookkeeper. So for the purpose of demo, I just selected the reviewer as Naomi and manager as myself to be the main preparer. And if I would like to assign any other staff, I can assign them on the job, because that's the 12-month period job. So I might just ask other staff members to help me at some point. So let's click save. Awesome. And let's have a look at the job that just created for me based on the quote that I issued, which is awesome. So I can get a lot of automation here. So you can see all the information I put on my quote are now included as tasks on this job. And yeah, basically we just make sure that the year is correct. And the good thing is you can always reorder the tasks as well. So for example, your tax planning, you can just reorder that and bring that between March and June. So probably in May, you would do that. And what you can do is basically, you can go and allocate each task, like schedule each task to different team members. Now, with the BASes for September to June, I really don't need to schedule BASes, because we are going to manage our activity statement workflow through Xero Tax using automatic activity statements. So, and I will talk about that later today. But with other tasks, I can start allocating that to my staff. For example, if I click on Laura, let's click on the pencil next to her. And you can see that I can schedule this task by ticking the box. I estimate this tax return to be 1 hour. So I can give that a deadline and allocate that to my staff, Jason, to work on that. And then Jason would be able to see this task in the task manager page. So basically, for any other tasks apart from your BASes, you can do the same thing, and then you can see the staff members and also the task due date. So we will just repeat this process for all other ones. And what I want to show you next is the billing out of this job. So billing out an annual service agreement seems to bring joy to so many accountants by providing a regular stream of income throughout the year. So let's take a look at how to set up your billing for these type of engagements. What we want to do is ensure that our billing is efficient. And that means we won't be creating a manual bill in XPM each month. Instead, we will set up a repeating invoice in our Xero practice organization, because we already have that organization syncing with XPM. So talking about our Xero practice organization, our Xero Blue, for the purpose of the webinar, I have an example repeating invoice that I prepared earlier for Hawkinson Family Trust. So let me show you. So if I go to business invoices, and if I go to the repeating invoice, you can see I have created that before. So we already have this repeating invoice for the current financial year for this client, because we set that up for the 22-23, as you recall. So what I need to do is basically I can update this repeating invoice and then ask Xero Blue to push those invoices against the new job that I've just created from July 23. So what I would like to draw your attention is the repeating frequency. So you can see that is set to monthly. And the most important part is the reference section. So this field relates to the job number in XPM and will be used when the WIP credit from this invoice is offset to the outstanding WIP balance in XPM. So it's important that we make sure this matches the job number for the new year. So if I get back to XPM, we just created this job based on the quote, and you can see this is the job number that I'm talking about. All I need to do, I just copy that, and then I need to paste that here. So from 15th of July, once this invoice is created, that would go and sit under this new job that I've created. And because I have increased the fee, I just want to make sure I update my pricing as well. And then all I need to do is clicking on save. So that is how we build out this type of annual service agreement using Xero Blue repeating invoices, because this setup will save you time when it comes to your invoicing. Awesome. So let's recap these steps for setting up jobs in XPM for year 2 and beyond. The first step is to review the jobs and scope of work for each job, creating a copy of the job or quote from the current year. Next is to update references to the dates and the years to which the work relates, and make any other adjustments that you identify. Also, keeping in mind our tip about reviewing the profitability of the job as well. And finally, if you are using quotes, issue the quote to your client for approval. To benefit from XPM setup that we have just seen, the first step that you will need to take is categorizing your client list. So we've got some tools available to you to do this. One is a checklist that offers some additional guidance when you go through the process. And the other is a CSV file that you can use for categorizing your clients. If you haven't got access to these, my colleague will pop the link in the chat box for you now. Please open and bookmark these, and also save a copy to your desktop as well. You can also scan the QR code on my slide to access the box folder. So I just wait a minute for you guys to maybe just scan this QR code, or just make sure that you have access to the box folder. Awesome. So I spoke earlier about 3 types of service engagements. List A is our annual service agreements. List B is fee for service for the recurring work or ongoing work. And list C is fee for service, like a tax compliance work, like one of those once yearly engagement that we provide. Now, let's move on to the Excel that my colleague has shared with you. That is the worksheet that I'm referring to. And you can see that there are different tabs on this Excel. So we have 3 list tabs on the CSV spreadsheet relating directly to these agreement types and the job setup to be used in XPM. So you will note that we have included an example client to show you how to complete the list for your clients. We have also tabs for our job tasks and templates, and I will talk about that shortly. So what you will notice on this client list, and I'm currently on client list A for our annual service agreement, is this column, which is our job templates that you want to include for this type of engagements. Then if I go to list B for our recurring or ongoing work, which is, for example, for bookkeeping or BASes, you can see the template that we recommend that you can use. However, if I go to list C for the one-off jobs, our list for tax compliance clients, who you would see them once a year, there is no template column here. So with these clients, you have the option to create tax compliance quotes and jobs throughout the year as they come in, or to create all your tax compliance jobs at the start of the year from one template and schedule them in the future for when they are likely to come in or when you would like to do them. Awesome. So let's get back to my slides. And now let's take a look at a first time setup for the structure of your job tasks and templates. So this is very important for the audience today, that you were not confident with job setups in XPM. Awesome. So your job template will include, Your job template will include all of the tasks that you perform for your client, and the task description used will flow through to create your billing paragraphs. Very, very important. You will also want to include the time estimate for tasks, and you can customize these for your practice along with the base rates and billable rates in our example. So let's take a look at what I'm talking about. So if I get back to that worksheet, now I'm going to the job tasks section. Our best practice model includes example task names and descriptions, and you can see those base rates and billable rates here as well. So we have the most common services a practice would offer, including advice, annual financials and tax returns, management reports, Xero setups, and etc. So these are just suggestions, and you can customize or add more to suit your needs. And now let's take a look at the other tab, our job templates. These templates group the tasks that are performed as part of a service offering. For example, on the first job template, which is our annual tax compliance, you can see we have grouped 5 tasks within this service offering. An ad hoc service, annual financial and tax returns for the business entity, 2 tax preparation for the individuals, and also client meeting. So this template is designed for clients where you build the head entity for work relating to several members of the group. So we recommend that you use one job as the entire engagement. But if you bill each taxpayer separately, which is less common, but also recommended by some professional bodies, then you don't need to include the other entities here. So you can create another job under that entity. So I'll scroll down to show you another template that I want to talk about, which is our monthly bookkeeping and payroll. So you can see we can use labels here to differentiate the month when the tasks needs to be done. And I've also included some to-do items under each task as well. These are the 2 main templates I wanted to highlight here, but there are many, many more on this Excel. So take a look at them and grab whatever you need and make the changes in XPM. So let's move on to the checklist that I mentioned earlier on this slide. That is also in the box folder. So this checklist will help to guide you through the job setup process. So you can also find that, as I mentioned, in the box folder. In case you missed that, I just ask my colleague to post that again, please, in the chat box for you. So as you work through the checklist, you will see that we recommend turning on automatic activity statements, because this automation will create more efficiencies for you. So if you haven't yet activated these, we suggest implementing the best practice job structure and templates first. And once your jobs are set up in XPM, you can go ahead and turn this on. And there are a few options you can choose from. So let's take a look. So I'm heading back to XPM, going to business settings, ATO online services. So make sure this checkbox is ticked. And our recommendation is the first option, to retrieve all your outstanding activity statement from the ATO on the first day of the month for your clients and attach that to the most recent or existing and recurring job in XPM. Once retrieved, those forms will flow into XPM as drafts with some key information, including document IDs, and they will be automatically attached to the job in XPM. So how awesome is that? Now, in order for these to actually talk to the ATO and fetch the activity statement for you, there are a few important settings you need on the client record that I'm going to show you right now. So let's go to the client's record. And just for an example, I'm going to click on Courts Family Trust. From the options, I'm going to edit this client record just to show you. Under the tax and company, this is the important part. Prepare activity statement. So make sure this checkbox is ticked. So for this particular client, we only assist them with their quarterly BAS. They do have a monthly installment activity statement, but we don't lodge it for them. So make sure you just tick the ones that you are responsible to prepare that for them. And then click Save. So if you have already created a BAS for a client, the next will be auto-retrieved and attached to the client job ready for use. If not, you will need to manually create the first activity statement for subsequent forms to be retrieved through AutoBAS. Awesome. So that's all about AutoBAS. And now let's move on to our job setups for first year. So when thinking about how to set up a job, we want to generally follow the principle of one job per engagement. This means that we will put everything that forms an engagement and needs to be invoiced together as tasks on a single job. Very, very important. For example, this single job might be an annual service agreement that covers all the work for this client. So we will have all of the tasks for the tax compliance work, as well as business activity statements, management reports, and tax planning. So let's take a look. Before I jump into any jobs, I just want to go to Job Manager first. So under Jobs and Jobs, we have a modern table here. So the staff can easily create filters to see exactly what is relevant to them. For example, I can run a filter for myself as the job manager and then pair this filter with the job state of in progress. Also, I can pair that with the due date of the job to be, for example, this week. The best part is I can always save that filter. So next month or next week or whenever I'll come to this page, I can just directly go to that filter that I just built. Okay, so really, really powerful. So in one view, I can see all the jobs that has been assigned to me as a job manager with the job state of in progress. Awesome. So just to show you how the annual service agreement would look like, I would just click on one of these annual service agreements, Common Family Trust. Just clicking on the job. So you can see this is very similar to the one that I was talking about with the court, because the category was the same, annual service agreement. And then can just assign the partner and manager. Again, job partner is the reviewer. Job manager is the actual preparer. And also I can see all the tasks that I would be working through as part of this engagement, like the BASs, the tax planning, and also the financials and tax return, and probably 2 tax returns for the individuals as well. And as I mentioned, you can just go ahead and allocate or schedule each task to different staff members and give them a due date as well. Awesome. So that is the job setup for an annual service agreement. Now, if I use this breadcrumb through the job, I'll just get back to the job manager page. Let's clear this filter. And I just want to have a look at the job setup for our recurring jobs. So these are clients who engage you for recurring work, either on a fee-for-service basis or time billed in arrears. For example, my BAS clients, bookkeeping clients that are not on a fixed fee. Because if they were, they would have been under the annual service agreement category, which we covered. So each time we complete a BAS, this will be an individual engagement, and we can automate the scheduling of these jobs by using recurring jobs in XPM. So let's have a look. So in the job manager, if I go to the recurring tab, and let's click on one of these recurring jobs that I've created for you before, so I can show you. So we can see that they are a quarterly BAS client with the job repeating every 3 months. We want the next date to fall on 30th of June, being the end of the quarterly BAS reporting period, so that our auto BAS will sync correctly to this job. Also, there is no need to put any end date. Of course, we can always come back at a later date and update if there is a change for our client's circumstances. And then I would be able to choose the relevant template here. And that was part of the Excel that I showed you, that what we recommend. And also with the names, we can use these squiggly brackets to basically automate our, to basically use them as a placeholder and automate our job names in XPM. We can also give a budget to this month, to this quarterly job, and also give that a duration, for example, giving it that a due date for the job. And again, allocating the reviewer, the preparer, and any other staff members that needs to work on this job. Awesome. And that is the job setup for our recurring jobs in XPM. Lastly, let's see how the tax compliance or any one of services jobs look like in XPM. Now, some of you may want to set these up at the beginning, as I said, or when you expect the client jobs to come in. So these does have benefits, and that can be time consuming if you want to set everything up at the beginning. So if you are short on admin time, you might choose to create these jobs from the template as the client work comes in. So let's take a look at our final workflow. That is one of my individual clients, Finley Coleman. And I have also created a job before to just show you, and that is for the 23 tax return. So Finley likes to work, basically he wants to get his tax refund very, very soon. So what I've done for him is, because I know this client, I have created a job for the 23 with the category I chose compliance. And then I scheduled this job to be completed by 27th of July, for example. So end of July, hopefully he would lodge this tax return and he would receive his refund. Be a very happy client. And then I can also see any tasks that are part of this job as well. And that would be the job setup for any one of services. Awesome. And that is the end of our job setup in XPM. So you can create your job templates in XPM based on our best practice spreadsheet. If, however, you need to reconfigure your XPM setup to make these templates work, we have an XPM masterclass running in September. So we have a brochure with the details, and I would ask one of my colleagues to please pop that in the link. So if you are interested in attending the masterclass, please let us know and we will be able to support you further. And lastly, the last demo, this is really, really important. We want to have accurate WIP reporting in XPM. So maybe you've got some time hiding in the completed jobs, and that's why I would like all of you now to follow along with me to create this filter for our completed jobs in XPM. Just give you a few seconds if you don't have your XPM open. Basically log in or make a note. Go to Business Work in Progress dashboard. You can see the drop down here, which means I can run filters. So just click on New Filter. And I have created that already. So this is how it looks like. So just name it as completed jobs. This filter is super, super important. So please take a note. With the condition, just set it as job state is completed. and then preview this report. Let's see how it looks like. In theory, there should be no jobs in here because if the job is completed and invoiced, there shouldn't be any WIP sitting under these completed jobs. But if you have jobs on this screen now, you need to either invoice them or write off the WIP. Awesome. And that's the end of our demo for today. So let me get back to my slides to wrap up the session. When it comes to job management in XPM, I have a few takeaway tips to share with you. Tip number 1, include all tasks that make up the job and will be invoiced together. Tip number 2, align dates with the end of a BAS period for AutoBAS to sync correctly. And tip number 3, use brackets. Use these brackets, I'll call the name, in your recurring jobs. So if you know what they are, that's awesome. If you don't, these squiggly or curly brackets are used for our placeholders, as mentioned before. So a placeholder in XPM tells certain data where to sit. For example, we can see this in the name of the recurring job to pick up the month and year for us automatically. Awesome. And the last poll of today, I'm just gonna run the same poll from the start of the beginning because I'm really curious to know how are you feeling at the moment. So can you tell me your confidence level with job setup in XPM after watching today's webinar? Awesome. Thank you for the responses. Very exciting. That's great. I'm just seeing the result and yeah, I will talk to you about that. This is awesome. Thank you so much. I'm very, very happy that most of you are sitting under the confident and very confident category. And I'm so happy that the content that we have provided to you is relevant and added value to you. And for those of you who are not confident or still somewhat confident, reach out to your account manager and see how we can help you, probably with your XPM questions, or probably provide you with any other tools or resources that you can refer to. Awesome. So what we have shown you today is how our best practice setup for jobs in XPM will create efficiencies and better visibility over job WIP and job profitability. An easy way to get set up for the new financial year is copying the course or job from the current year, because this will save you a lot of time. We have also shared resources to help you structure your job templates and categorize your client lists, and shown you how this best practice approach looks like in XPM. Also, a reminder to those of you wanting a copy of the recording, it will be shared with you within a few days.